I don't know. I don't know how wills work. I've never written a will.
No, nor I. I sometimes think I probably should.
Right? Like, I mean, that balance of probabilities, as, you know, as time continues, there's more things that can happen to you.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want, like, all of my worldly possessions to, like, go into... I don't know what would happen to them. I mean, I guess they'd probably go to my family.
Next to kin, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I'd rather, like, have certain things go to certain people with deep, meaningful...
Exactly.
Like, messages attached to them. Or maybe completely meaningless messages that appear to be meaningful. Maybe that would be fun.
And then there's the small cache of items that absolutely must be destroyed and must go to no one because they possess great power. You know, uncontrollable power.
True.
Yeah, you know, you got to take care of that. That's the first thing, I think, is you have your lawyer destroy your box of unholy trinkets.
Yeah.
That's the first line, I think, in just any will.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
The Witch is Familiar.
The Witch is Familiar.
Who is the Witch is Familiar?
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know.
I think it's Clara.
You think?
I've come to the decision that both the Magician's Apprentice and the Witch is Familiar are Clara.
I guess it's gotta be.
That, like, the idea of that is that, like, oh, in this story, Clara is the Doctor's companion, but she's also the Master's companion. So she's the Magician's Apprentice, but she's also the Witch's Familiar.
I guess we gotta go with that. It just seems kind of... I mean, like, because I can definitely see how in this episode, Clara would be, you know, Missy's familiar or whatever. I can see that because they spent pretty much the whole episode together. But I mean, like, you know, last week, I don't feel that Clara spent a comparable amount of time with the Doctor.
No, but she did act in his stead with Unit.
Oh, well, all right. That's...
So I think that I don't know. I mean, the other... I was kind of also thinking... I was wondering going in whether we would find out this week that the Magician's Apprentice was Davros.
Oh, right.
And that, like, the Doctor would somehow, like, take the boy on as his apprentice.
Ah, yeah.
But that's not a thing that happened.
Nope. No, it is not. Along with a lot of other things that just did not happen. Like this wasn't... Like, I mean, you know, I'm a little bit disappointed because, you know, I was kind of excited for the idea that, like, the sort of synonym titles would be somehow, like, indicative of something weird, like, you know, parallel universes or something, and that didn't really happen at all.
No.
So there's a lot that could have happened that didn't.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of things that happened that did happen. That could have happened that did, I guess.
Well, you're right about that. Yeah. So you're not happy with the title?
I'm not at all happy with the title. I'm not, and now I feel like, I mean, I don't understand. I kind of thought it was cool and significant when it was possible that, oh, maybe they're doing something weird with these two-parters. But I mean, if they're just ordinary two-parters that are named in a weird, that have like a weird naming scheme.
Yeah.
That's not very exciting. Is that what we're supposed to be hyped up about with Series 9? Is that like we got weird names now?
Hey, it's something. I don't know.
It seems like, I mean, if anything, it just seems like it's a little bit lazy because, I mean, you know, it's kind of like, I mean, I can understand kind of the challenge in, like, I mean, like, I really struggle in the few times that I've attempted to write works of fiction or whatever, I really struggle to give titles to stuff because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. and I don't know how people do, but I imagine I imagine it's not just me. I imagine other people other people struggle with this too, and so it seems like a cop out to. I mean, I understand all right, you're writing a 2-parter, and God, you got to think of 2 titles. That's terrible. So I understand oh hey, what if the second title was just a bunch of synonyms of the first title? I can kind of see the appeal of that.
Yeah,
but I also feel like if you're not. I guess it's just because it was never this way before. We've always had 2-parters. Well, yeah, since Series 1, we've always had 2-parters. And they've always had just different titles. And I guess, the writers just put in the amount of effort needed to come up with 2 titles. And so that's what I was used, that's what, that's normal. But here it's different. And, that's misleading. It's misleading. It's it's misleading.
Well, I was going to ask you what you thought they should be called, but seeing as how you've just said that, you're bad at making titles and you think, creating 2 different titles sounds like the worst. So maybe I won't ask that of you.
Yeah, I would thank you not to. No, I mean, that's a pretty good question. I don't know, because the titles are always kind of like. I don't know.
I would call the first one. I don't know what I would call the first one. The first one, I maybe something about the plane stopping.
Hashtag planes have stopped.
Yeah. Okay. So the first episode would be called hashtag planes have stopped, and I think I would call the second one At the Mercy of the Daleks.
Ooh, right. Because this was a Dalek episode that didn't have the of the Daleks naming thing. Although I guess we don't really do that in the new series so much.
We do it sometimes, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be good. And that's actually pretty clever. Because the whole mercy thing. That's a really good title, actually.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. See, you're good at this stuff. I'm not.
Yeah. So anyway, did you like the episode though?
I mean, that's the thing is, I was disappointed that it didn't do the whole parallel universe thingy. But as a whole, I mean, I did find it an enjoyable episode.
I absolutely loved it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
So you kind of did a quick like a swift sort of 180 here, where
well, it's not so much that I didn't need that to happen. It was just a dumb idea I had. So, I wasn't emotionally invested in the notion that it was going to happen.
Oh, okay.
But
see, I was.
Oh, okay. Well, we come up with all kinds of dumb theories on this show.
I know, but I like them. I just like them so much.
Yeah. Well, I try not to get too attached to that kind of stuff because something else happens, and that can be great too. And I thought this was a really good episode all around.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was. Oh my God. I did really love the dynamic between Clara and Missy.
Yeah.
I thought that was just because it is so different from Clara and the Doctor. Because Missy obviously doesn't really care about Clara's well-being. I mean, I guess ultimately she does. She knows she needs to have Clara alive at least for a bit so that she can get back to the Doctor. But she doesn't really care if I don't know. She doesn't really care about Clara's state of her sort of mental health.
Well, no, and she does try to goad the Doctor into killing her just for fun.
Well, that's true. Which would have been fun. No, and that I was that scene, I was really on the fence on whether or not I couldn't tell if it was actually going to not that the Doctor would actually kill her, but I was almost sure that this isn't gonna Clara's gonna they're gonna leave and Clara's gonna be stranded here in this Dalek. That didn't
again.
Yeah, I know, right? Deja vu. But yeah, I was almost sure that, or it seemed to me that was a very real possibility, and that was a super tense moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so well done. But yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, these little elements that kind of get established sort of early on kind of come back, the whole issue with, some of the things Clara says get translated weirdly by the Daleks' casing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff kind of comes, the sewers and all that stuff. That all, I do love how Stephen Moffat was able to do that and, work in all these different ideas and have them come to a head like you do with fiction. basically, Stephen Moffat did a good job writing a piece of fiction.
Yeah.
But no, I just this was pretty good, I have to say. So in your mind, does this because you liked this so much, does this improve last week's episode in your mind, or is it just?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't rewatched last week's episode. So maybe I don't know. It could. I don't know. I really liked Capaldi in this episode.
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent, and I really liked Davros a lot.
Oh yeah.
I thought this was sort of much more interesting than the very small amount we got last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's so weird. It's so weird because, well, first of all, I didn't know his eyes worked.
Yeah,
that was an interesting revelation to me.
I thought they just didn't work.
Yeah, like I thought that was supposed to be. I thought like the whole idea was like, oh, those are just eye sockets. Like that's where his eyes used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that like like somewhere buried in there were actual working eyes. That's very weird. But yeah, no, it's super interesting what they do here, because like I don't want to say like it humanizes Davros, because like it doesn't really do that, but like, or Kaledizes him.
Yeah.
But you do see kind of like a different side of him than what you're used to seeing, which is kind of interesting, and I do really like it, because like he his whole thing about like, oh, am I a good man? I mean, like that performance was so, like, it didn't feel like that was Davros faking it, like him questioning that kind of stuff, or like that stuff. It didn't feel like that, or at least it didn't feel that way to me.
No, it came across as genuine.
Yeah.
Although seemingly it wasn't.
Well, right. Ultimately he did. He was doing this all to trap the Doctor, but but that's so.
But you do also kind of have to wonder, like, is there something in there that's playing this for a different purpose? Like, is he ultimately has a goal in mind when he's doing this? But is he letting something real within himself that he's suppressed for so long? Is he letting that out, or is he just completely stone cold nothing? And I think the episode seems to suggest that it's not that he's completely stone cold. Completely like ruthless, because of the whole notion that he left some kind of mercy, at least a vocabulary for mercy within the Daleks.
Yeah, and so I think there's something there, and I think, but I mean, like, whatever in his, I mean, like, I hate to break it to him, but no, I don't think you can say he's a good man.
No.
But the idea that he believes it, or the idea that maybe he thinks somehow he could be, it's like kind of like it's like a little bit like, I don't know, in like Breaking Bad with like Walter White, like he does some really, really bad stuff, but he's kind of he kind of sort of sees himself as doing like something that's like maybe not noble, but like worthwhile, and like, yeah, he's doing it for a reason. Like he's doing these things because he thinks he has to, or whatever.
And he's wrong.
He's wrong. Exactly. But there is something. It's like a self-delusion where you think you're the hero here, or whatever. I don't know, or at least that's what I imagine. But yeah. So like there's something there for that. But I guess that. But on the same hand, with perhaps the notable exception of like maybe Missy, I very much doubt that many villains do evil just because they really feel like doing evil.
Right.
I feel like most of them probably feel like they're justified somehow. I don't know.
Well, and Missy seems to use this weird language where she kind of makes justifications, but they're not like by appeal to any conventional sense of morality.
Right.
Like, she tries to justify her actions as like being like, well, why not be like this? I mean, and what's so different about what the Doctor does? So she does seem to have some kind of attempt to justify there. But. Right.
Yeah. So so she just seems like she's kind of operating on a different, maybe there's some logic to what she's doing, but she's operating on a different set of assumptions or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You know what this episode really reminded me of?
Oh, what?
Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
And the reason it reminded me of that.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I mean, there are a few reasons. One of which is that, like, the dialogue between the Doctor and Davros,
right?
A lot of that reminds me a lot of the dialogue between the Emperor and Luke in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And Julian Bleach's Davros voice even kind of sounds a little bit like the, Ian McDiarmid's Emperor voice.
Yeah.
But also, like, the major theme is that, like, the hero kind of overcomes the villain with compassion and mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wonder what... And then there was... there's a line in Return of the Jedi before, Luke takes off Vader's mask where he says, "Let me look upon you with my own eyes."
Right.
So that pretty much has to have been a deliberate reference, I think.
I think we have to assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I certainly got that feeling, but yeah. So yeah, I feel like it's probably... But yeah. No, I do. I agree with you. I think it does very strongly evoke a Return of the Jedi kind of vibe. I think that's true.
But with fewer Ewoks.
Far fewer Ewoks. Yeah.
Almost none.
I dare say yes. Very nearly, approximately none. This is interesting because it does feel like a finale. Also, I mean, like, but it's not. It's a premiere,
right?
So I don't know what's gonna go on because it's so weird. Because you'd think, well, certainly in like Series 6 where we had like a 2-part premiere, they very clearly established like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing this season. Is all these problems that we've just introduced. These are all going to be covered. But there's not really anything like really like brought up here.
Well, there is though, the prophecy.
Prophecy?
Davros makes reference to, he asked the Doctor first he asked the Doctor, "What's in your confession?" And then he says, "Well, why did you leave Gallifrey?"
Oh,
and
yeah.
Davros says it's because of some kind of, because he's afraid of some kind of Gallifreyan prophecy having to do with the creation of a hybrid. And I think Clara had some kind of effect from what the Doctor did to the Daleks. That's what I think, because Missy says something weird about like when Clara comes out of the Dalek, she says something like, "Oh, the friend within the enemy and the enemy within the friend, we're all hybrids," or something like that. And then she kind of makes like a knowing look at the Doctor and then walks away. I kind of wondered whether that was a thing.
That could be. Yeah, actually, yeah, I guess I could see that. I guess I could see that being the plot for this season.
Because I think what's in the confession dial, I think that's going to come back.
Right. Because we don't. Well, I mean, but I mean, like, if in fact, and I guess Stephen Moffat's never been keen on his own rules, so I guess there's no reason to think that it can only open if the Doctor dies, or maybe it can be fooled by a Tesselecta. Or maybe the Doctor could just say what's on the confession dial without actually dying. I guess he could do that, unless there's some reason why he couldn't, which I can't.
There's only one time he could. Maybe it's his name.
Oh, hey, maybe it is.
It's a pretty big confession.
Yeah, talk about it. I mean, now anyone can get into his tomb on Trenzalore that probably doesn't exist anymore because it was overwritten.
Probably.
But if you could get into that aborted timeline or whatever, you could get into his tomb. And jump into his timeline, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, probably his name. That makes sense. Yeah, sure. Why would it? Well, I mean, if anything, it's got to lead with that, right? Like, I mean, isn't that how like a last will and testament works? Like, you start by saying like, I so and so hereby whatever, or I don't know. Is that not? I don't know. I don't know how wills work. I've never written a will.
No, nor I. I sometimes think I probably should.
Right? So yeah, confession dial. I don't know. Yeah, I think that could come back. I hope it's not like, I don't know. I feel let down when Moffat tries to do, mysterious things. So I'm kind of hoping this isn't like overblown.
Yeah, and I really don't want Moffat to kind of shove like a prophecy into the center of the mythology of Doctor Who. I feel like I don't need that.
Neither can live while the other whatever, something like that. I don't want that. I don't need that. Wait, I mean, come on. Not every work of fiction needs to have a prophecy attached to it. Like, come on.
Right. It doesn't. I mean, yeah.
So yeah, because I mean, and that's kind of the thing is that like I don't want to say that like Silence Will Fall was a prophecy, more like a declaration, but it's along the same lines where like it's this thing that was this vague idea that like this is something that's gonna happen in the future. I guess that is a prophecy. But I don't think we need another one of those in Doctor Who. I think we got enough.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah,
we're
all
fine
set.
without it. So yeah, I was a little kind of annoyed when that was brought up, but that was like one of the few things about the episode that I wasn't too crazy about.
Yeah. No, and I do appreciate how Moffat is always able to do this, but he kind of expands here a little bit on like the Dalek mythos. Like obviously there's the idea that like the kind of like the implications of the Daleks not having like just an ordinary vocabulary like that, like like, and I don't even understand how that really works, but like the idea that their vocabulary is somehow limited by their like I don't know, hatred or whatever. That's like kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's also not like really in keeping with what we've seen.
Right.
Like we've seen Daleks say weird stuff.
Yeah,
like, we even saw like the Oswald Dalek from Asylum of the Daleks have the complete vocabulary of a person.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know how that works. It could very well be that. I don't know. I mean, well, there was a lot of weird stuff going on with Oswald because, she was able to... well, actually, I guess that's just because she's a Dalek. But she was able to, like, access all of the Dalek network and things like that and erase huge swaths of their database using...
Maybe she erased some of their vocabulary.
Maybe. That's, you gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with your SQL queries. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I think that is the weird thing, and also I feel like even if we take it as read that this is how Dalek vocabulary works, and maybe there are like special circumstances where they can like have additional expansion packs or whatever and get like extra vocabulary. But I mean, like, you got to think that that's got to be extremely inconvenient when it comes to like discussing your enemies. Because the Daleks, I assume, strategize. Maybe they don't. But, I mean, I'm assuming that, like, they should at least try to sort of explain plans and, like, talk about...
What are the roadblocks you imagine them to hit?
Well, like, so, like, here's the thing. A conversation about the Doctor occurs. How do they describe the Doctor's key attributes and, like, what to look out for? So, like, let's say that there's a Dalek seminar going on, a little briefing or whatever, where they're like, hey, I know, hey there, freshly minted batch of Daleks, you may not know this, but there is like this really annoying guy who kind of thwarts us sometimes. He's called the Doctor, and we gotta tell you some stuff about him because you might run into him, and he's gonna try and. He's going to trick you. He's going to try and be compassionate or whatever. And, he's going to try and, like, offer you, a way out and blah, 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 if you just surrender. Like, do you think that, like, they have words for, like, surrender and stuff? Like, do you think that, like, they could reasonably, like, describe the Doctor to other Daleks?
They're always saying things like, Daleks do not surrender, or, like, Daleks do not negotiate.
So maybe they can speak about these concepts, but only in relation to... In the negative, only in how they don't apply to Daleks.
Right.
Okay. So maybe if Clara had thought that she wasn't Clara, then maybe the Dalek could have said that it was not Clara. Not that would have helped. That would have made things worse.
Yeah, probably.
Well, because but here's the thing, like, so... I don't know. I mean, I think that might be, but like even discussing like, because as the Daleks are fond of a goofy plan or two.
This is true.
They will try to do things like hold people hostage or whatever, or set or bait traps. And so if they're trying to talk about the concept of love and explain to other Daleks why this trap will work, it's because this person's loved ones are in the trap, or rather are the bait to the trap, and if you set this trap, then the person who loves these loved ones will fall into the trap. And if you can't talk about the concept of love to other Daleks, then that's going to be a really hard conversation to explain that plan.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like
maybe they just have to pick another plan.
Well, right. So that's the thing is, they just have to talk about, so they can only have plans that involve hatred, which I guess that's a fine way to work, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they have it in their vocabulary? I mean, I guess that they must also, in addition to like hating everything that's not a Dalek, and having no concept of like elegance or beauty or whatever. They call hatred beautiful, so I guess they have that.
Yeah.
So in addition to those concepts, I guess they also have the vocabulary for hollowing out a planet and driving it around like a spaceship.
Yeah, I mean,
they can have
that's
that.
useful to have.
So they can have those kinds of plans. So they can have like hate-based plans, and then scooping out planet core plans.
Maybe that's why some of their plans are so strange.
Right, because they. Oh my God! So like all these Daleks have had great plans. It's just that they couldn't articulate them to other Daleks,
and they just miscommunicate them. And
right, that's where a lot of project management falls down.
Exactly.
Is in the communication stage, you got to communicate clearly with your designers, and your the people who are actually making the thing, and then obviously like your clients. All these parts have to work together, and so when they start to fall down. The Daleks would just make really terrible middle managers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, this makes so much sense now. I think Stephen Moffat has given us a great bit of mythos here.
Not only that, but I think there might be some Daleks that work in my office.
I think it stands to reason.
Because I mean, there are some people that just it seems like certain core concepts are just not only outside their understanding, but beyond what can even be considered or discussed.
Yeah, there you go. I think you may need to I would watch out to see if like one of those eye stalk things protrudes out of their foreheads at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be one of the puppets.
Could be a puppet. What do you think is going on at Unit right now?
They're just sitting on their hands, or twiddling their thumbs. They're just kind of like wondering what to do next.
Well, yeah, because the last thing they saw was Missy and Clara dematerializing, and so there's kind of like I guess we're done.
Well, right. Well, yeah, right. So like, what happens? Yeah, because what happens is Missy, as a good act of faith or whatever, unfreezes the planes. And so that problem, that was really the thing that Unit, I think, was probably concerned about. That's taken care of. So they're kind of just, I imagine at that point they were just kind of like, all right, well, let's see where this goes and see how we can de-escalate this situation with Missy. And then Missy and Clara, zap away. And so maybe I don't know, they probably watched the monitors for a few minutes, and then they're just kind of like, all right, well, I guess we'll just move on to whatever we were doing before. Take a lunch, everyone, and we'll circle back and get back here. Yeah. I mean, I think their problem is like solved for the most part. So I feel like they probably stood down at that point, and we're kind of, I don't know, maybe that kind of like would come up later, like, oh hey, whatever happened to that thing with Missy and that one doctor's companion, whatever happened to that? And then they'll kind of like, well, whoever else is there will just kind of shrug and they'll just go on with their lives or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I would just hate like not knowing like the rest of it, because it's like what just happened is like the doctor's companion has been kidnapped by the master. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's got to be like some protocol in the Unit files for like what you do when the doctor's companion has been kidnapped by the master.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean,
but I don't know what they would be attempting to do, but they got to try something.
Well, right. Like, I mean, presumably part of that chain of events would have to be, talking or trying to get in touch with the doctor. Except that I guess they were already trying to do that. So maybe I don't. Yeah, that's the thing. Although, but the thing was that they were also like, Missy's kidnapped Clara, but at the same time they were going to look for the doctor. So maybe that's two birds with one stone. Maybe in that circumstance, it's no longer their jurisdiction. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I just find it frustrating.
No, I understand completely, and I would feel that same way, if I were, sitting at a desk somewhere in unit and I'm watching these events unfold, even if I'm just some nobody, who gets Kate Stewart coffee in the morning or tea or whatever. I would still be kind of like frustrated by the idea that I just don't know how what's going on here. I mean, I guess at that point, that they're going to go back. Oh, well, no, I mean, you can't. You can find out what happened in terms of Earth history. Because, and this is kind of the thing, is like, I don't know, did they travel through time? I mean, I guess they must have.
Yeah.
Not to get to England, to medieval England, but like when Colony Sarf picks them up.
Oh,
he picks them up, in medieval times, and they get into a spaceship, and I don't think we ever like see them fly through like the time vortex, but I mean, I guess there's other ways to get through time.
Yeah, I mean, Daleks have time travel technology, so
right.
I mean, that could have been used.
Yeah.
Just didn't see it.
Yeah, just behind the scenes time travel.
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, so I think we'd have to assume. I mean, like, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess because you'd have to assume that. Because I'm sure time travel would have had to have been involved, even if they had found the Doctor in 2015. I don't think that it would have been 2015 Skaro or whatever date format you're using on Skaro. So I mean, time travel would have had to have been involved no matter what. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
It's just that's just how it has to be.
I guess so.
Also, was Colony Sarf like following them around? Because that like because he just kind of you know what we're talking about last week's episode. I guess we shouldn't do that.
No, it's gone.
It is gone. It's faded. It's faded away.
It's in the archives now.
It is.
I was kind of sad that Colony Sarf died.
Yeah, he was such a good villain. He was so that's such a cool so sad.
He's made of snakes.
He's made of snakes. You'd think that those things would be like, interchangeable. Like, it's kind of like a car or whatever. Your battery dies, you don't throw away your whole car.
Right, you just replace a snake or two.
Right.
If your battery dies.
Exactly. You replace your snake battery. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Come on. Why would he be completely dead? I mean,
maybe he's not. I mean, so few great Doctor Who villains. I don't know. I mean, I would bring back Colony Sarf a lot. Like I'm not even joking here. Like Colony Sarf, I would get more mileage out of Colony Sarf.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, come on. I mean, there's so much utility there in being able to like uncoil yourself and just like slither if you want to do that. It's crazy to think that would just like that would be like a one-off villain. I mean, come on. Yeah.
And I wonder, are there other colonies? Can they merge?
Oh, hey, yeah. Become like a bigger, like a Hulk almost.
Ooh,
colony Hulk.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Come on. So much potential here. Yeah, and I imagine they wouldn't even have to be humanoid. Like they wouldn't have to like when they recoil, they don't have to like look like a human being with lines on their face.
No, I'm sure they've got a bunch of different configurations. Like, yeah. I feel like the human configuration is probably like ambassador mode, where like you go out and run on these errands, and you're like, where is the doctor? But if you're in like, there's probably like an attack mode.
Oh yeah,
like a defender mode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Speed mode probably.
Yeah, like where you just turn into like a wheel or something, and you just
yeah
drive around. Yeah.
Snake wheel.
Yeah. Just a big old wheel of snakes.
Oh, Doctor Who and the Wheel of Snakes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is this a species? I mean, I guess it must be. Like a well, not even a well, I don't know. Like a multi-organism species thing, conglomerate. I don't even know how do you classify this?
I mean, the snakes are just snakes, I think.
Are they? Pretty smart snakes.
Yeah, I mean,
and one of which has like a face on the side of it, or several of which.
Several of which have pieces of face on them. I don't know. Maybe there's like I would want to say there's like one snake that gathers other snakes to it, but that seems anti-democratic.
It does. That does. That seems more like a representative, like an elected representative, except that they weren't elected.
Well, right, because they're the starting point, and they just forcibly recruit other snakes.
Right. They're the snake Katamari.
Yes.
Just roll them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense at all. Because, yeah, you'd think that they'd all be equal. Do they take turns being the face? Is the face modular? Maybe.
I wonder. I'm reminded of like the scene in The Mind Robber, which we haven't put out our episode about yet. That the Doctor has to reassemble Jamie's face.
That's right. Yeah, maybe it's like that. Maybe they've got backup mouths and noses and eyes, and they just whatever arrangement they feel like doing is what Colony Sarf looks like for that day.
Yeah,
that could very well be. I think that's certainly a possibility. Yeah, I mean that's yeah. I mean they gotta bring back Colony Sarf.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I like saying?
What?
And we didn't really remark upon this last week, but the classic series Daleks.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was cool, the way they just mixed in, Time War Daleks, 60s Daleks, the Special Weapons Dalek, the fancy red Dalek from Journey's End.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like that's, like, a pretty cool... I think that's what they should do going forward. Because there's no reason why not.
Right.
Assuming that, like, there's no more, like, civil wars or whatever where, like, some Daleks think that they're better than others for whatever reason.
Still, that has happened in Doctor Who.
Yeah. So, assuming that does not happen, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I do. It is kind of strange, though, to see, like, the blue and silver Daleks on screen in the new series. It's a little strange, but it is cool. Yeah.
Well, and, I've always found their design to be ever so slightly creepier. I'm not sure why. I think it's because the little light bulbs on the side of the dome. I don't like how they look on the Time War Daleks because they look a little bit too much like their cat ears or something. I don't know why. Like this has always bothered me. They just always look too. They look too cute. I don't know. They're too cute to be menacing. I can't.
They are cute.
They are cute. That's a problem. It's a problem how cute they are. So I like the classic series Daleks better.
Yeah, I it would be cool to see them do more of that going forward, but I don't know. I mean, like the attempt to bring in the new paradigm Daleks in Bridger the Daleks seems to have failed entirely. They didn't even show up here.
Yeah, and that's a real shame. Like, yeah, you'd think like this would be like where all the Daleks would come back to, especially like the rejects. These new paradigm Daleks weren't well received anywhere. I'm assuming in universe as well as in the actual fandom. I'm imagining that like nobody liked them even because in Asylum of the Daleks they kind of took a back seat.
Yeah, they were there, but they were kind of not doing much.
Yeah, so I feel like obviously like when they are the laughing stock of the Dalek race, obviously they kind of just come home and hide. I think. Oh, so maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're hiding. But you'd think that they'd be around in some capacity. It is weird how they chose to bring back an even older Dalek and completely left out the new paradigms. I don't know. I do have to say though, I actually don't mind the new paradigm Daleks, except that I don't like. I think their idea for the little eye stalk is kind of dumb because it's got like what looks like an actual eye in there.
I actually really like that.
Really? I don't. I think it makes. I just think it's too weird. I don't know.
I like weird.
Well, there's something to be said for weird. Yeah. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to the new paradigm Daleks. I
don't miss them.
I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, there comes a point where, who wants all these different kind of Daleks running around? I mean, there's only so many different types of Daleks you can keep track of, I think. Well, actually, no, I guess that's not really true. But, like, you think there'd be some attempt, even amongst the Daleks, to standardize?
Yeah, well.
Maybe that's the thing, is they just had, like, a kind of like a buyback program where, the Daleks, the new paradigm Daleks, traded in their new paradigm casing for like a Time War casing or.
Oh yeah, I mean, because these could be new paradigm Daleks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's just they have the old paradigm casing.
Yeah, could very well be. Well, you'd think like, I mean, I don't know this with any certainty, but I imagine that the Time War Daleks probably have the best casing, right? I mean, like they were fighting in a war. You'd think they'd have the best. They would have the best defenses and force fields and weapons. You'd think, right?
Probably. I mean, the special weapons Dalek has special weapons.
Well, okay, so what's so special about this weapon?
Oh, just special.
Oh, okay.
Do you know which Dalek is a special weapons Dalek?
It's the weird one, right?
It's the weird white one with the weird things on it.
Yeah.
Not the red one. That's the Supreme Dalek.
Right. No. Right.
Yeah, the special weapons Dalek is like the weird one from the Seventh Doctor era.
And what?
I think it's from our Remembrance.
Do we ever see what the special weapon does? Does it just?
I think so, but I honestly don't really recall that much. It's just got a different weapon.
Okay.
A special.
Oh, it's special. All right, I get you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, it's like a cannon on the front of it.
Okay. Yeah, and sure, why not? Why? Like, I mean, that's the thing is, kind of Daleks kind of seem like they're operating at one speed here. They got their extermination ray or whatever. But what if they need to like knock down a wall or something? They would need a cannon for that, I think.
Yeah, that's where the ordinary weapons are insufficient.
Yeah,
and only a truly special weapon can win the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta have a special weapons Dalek, a token special weapons Dalek running around, just for the odd scenario where you're gonna need them.
Oh, you think it's tokenism?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
You think this is like some Dalek diversity initiative?
Probably, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, well, could be.
But yeah, no, I think, yeah, so, well, it's because that's another part of this episode is we established that the old Daleks all get flushed out. So yeah, so these casings could belong to any Dalek.
True.
This could be like, and the special weapons Dalek, that could be like a 67 Thunderbird or whatever. I'm assuming I just spoke a phrase that I think means a good car that from the olden days, but I don't really know anything about cars, so
yeah,
that was a reference that I made that I didn't actually understand myself.
We talked enough about cars in our Chimes of Midnight episode.
Right. I think we're honorary car people now.
Yeah, I should think so.
We glanced through enough Wikipedia articles, I think, to qualify. Yeah, so it could be that this is like some Dalek hobbies is to like get a case that's like kind of run down and restore it. That could be. Daleks, maybe don't have a concept of beauty as we know it, but
right.
Presumably like there is an aspiration to be the best at exterminating.
Yeah.
I think that they all probably want to be, the very best. Like no one ever was.
Exactly.
And like the thing is, just because the Dalek inside of the casing dies doesn't mean that it's necessarily like the casing is beyond repair.
No. I mean, although oftentimes,
yeah, they kind of explode.
Yeah, like it's that, or like the casing is compromised, and that's why the Dalek dies, or something.
Yeah, so it's better just have an insurance write-off and just get a new Dalek casing.
Yeah. You know what we completely forgot to talk about last week?
What's that?
Jenna Coleman leaving.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that's officially been announced.
Right.
That Jenna Coleman is leaving the show.
That's right.
This year.
Do we know if she's sticking through to like the end of the I mean, I'm assuming she's sticking through to the end of the series.
Well, they said it was kind of interesting what was said. I think Moffat said like, we're not telling you when she's leaving.
Oh.
So I don't think she's in the Christmas special. I'm not 100% sure. Because it's also been announced, who's in the Christmas special?
I don't.
They announced the companion for the Christmas special, and it's a returning character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do you want to know who it is?
You know what? I do.
It's River Song.
Is it really?
Yeah, River Song is going to be in the Christmas special.
I wonder at what point in her timeline she is.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. She's also getting, her own Big Finish series.
Oh, that's right.
At around the same time. So.
Oh, is this maybe this is a tie-in?
Oh, that'd be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah. Could very well be. Huh. Interesting. Well, because River's never been in a Christmas special before, right?
I don't think she has. That's right.
Yeah, well, because for most of the 11th Doctor era, except for, well, more or less, it's always been... Actually, no. It's kind of been a mix of like guest stars and the usual companion. Actually, more so than during David Tennant's run, because David Tennant, like pretty much with the exception of Rose, was always with guest companions, except for when that guest companion later reappeared as a regular companion.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there was the Christmas Invasion with Rose, and then the End of Time is also a Christmas special.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
yeah. I forget that.
Part 1 is. Part 2 is not.
Oh, that's right. That's a New Year's special.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh. So a returning companion for a Christmas special. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested, but also I'm sad to hear that Jenna Coleman's leaving.
Well, yeah, because
I was not terribly surprised though.
No, well, and because she was rumored to leave at the end of last series too, right?
Yeah,
that was a rumor that was floating around. So
well, I think it was not just a rumor; it was actually the original plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Moffat said something about how like they kept trying to convince her to stay, and they eventually wore her down, basically. But yeah, it seemed to me like it's time. Like I wouldn't say like she's leaving too soon. I'd be happy to watch further seasons of her, or at least I think so. I mean, because I was not incredibly crazy about her in Series 7 and Series 8. I was, and
well, right.
So far this season, she seems to be quite good again.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is Series 7 was kind of annoying because they were doing this whole thing again where she was this mystery to the Doctor, and she wasn't really like so much her own character as much as she was something for the Doctor to figure out, which is kind of annoying and not really how I prefer to like be introduced to a companion. But then so in Series 8 all that stuff was done and was no longer the focus, and so she kind of got to be just a companion, which is pretty neat. And so but at the same time, the whole like with how long Amy was a companion of the 11th Doctor, that's it's kind of funny that's atypical for how long it is in the new series anyways, because Martha had one season, Donna had one season, and so it's almost weird that Amy lasted so long and Clara has lasted as long as she has. I mean, she's lasted longer than any of the, well, I mean, with the exception of Rose, the companions of the Russell T Davies era. Well,
right, and if Clara stays to the end of the season, then she will have lasted longer even than Amy.
Is that really like
by episode count?
Really? Oh, yeah, right. Well, she was kind of technically sort of in some of Series 7A.
Yeah, I mean, even discounting that though. I mean,
really?
If you just start from Bells of St. John. Well, yeah, because Series 7 was like 5 episodes of Amy and like 8 of Clara.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's not like a super like a lot longer, but it's I think she will have edged out Amy.
Wow. Huh. Yeah. So this is kind of weird. I mean, it's like it's kind of weird that in the Moffat era we have these really long staying companions when that's not really been the case at all, or it wasn't the case in the Russell T Davies era.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seemed to me like bringing a new companion was the way of keeping things fresh in the Russell T Davies era.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, every season had a cast change. For Series 2, it was a new Doctor, and then for each subsequent series, it was a new companion.
Right.
Whereas Moffat has not done that, but I do think each series has had a pretty distinct feel that was different from the one that preceded it.
Well, yeah. Right. It makes a lot of sense that, that was what Russell T Davies wanted to do. Is he wanted to make he wanted to make the companion more the focus, and so having a new companion was a way to do that. Where like okay, so now we're seeing how this type of person copes with being a time traveler and stuff like that, and so you can do different and interesting things with with this type of person and things like that. And then but Stephen Moffat on the other hand wants to do weird things like with time itself, and like do weird things like let's have the Doctor, let's have everyone witness the Doctor's death, and then have it be like, oh, it's a future version of the Doctor, and now we got to sort all of this out and stuff like that, and have that be the thing as opposed to like who the companions are.
Yeah, but and he also does things as basic as like, well, what if we did all one-parters? What if we did all two-parters? What if we put it on in the spring, in the fall, in the winter? What if we split it up across multiple years? What if we so he's kind of messed with it in that way too. So I think he's had no difficulty at least keeping things different. Whether you like everything he's done is another question entirely.
Right.
But I think he's managed to shake things up pretty regularly without necessarily having the cast change be the main motivator of that. But
Right. Yeah. It's a different way, but it's still a valid way.
yeah, it's really hard for me to think about Capaldi with someone other than Clara, though.
Well, yeah, Yeah, because it does really seem like he is so good at, yeah, because he's just I don't know, he's just abrasive enough that having someone, it's just it's so good.
Like everything about his character seems like it's perfectly calculated to interact in interesting ways with her particular, strengths and weaknesses and personality type.
Yeah.
To the point where I think I felt last season it often felt like it was her show and he was a supporting character.
Right. Yeah.
So it's very I'm very interested to see what will come next in terms of the companion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, and so do we know if Capaldi is sticking around?
We don't. I was just assuming that he is, but that may well be false.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, wow, that would be, well, it would, I guess if both he and Jenna Coleman go, I guess that would basically just be another Series 5 where we get a new Doctor and a new companion. So it's not that weird, but yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, I feel like I'm used to Capaldi now, and so now I kind of want him to stick around. So I'm kind of hoping he's gonna stick around for Series 10. I also don't know how eager he is to leave. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I can't say that I know his mind or anything, but I mean, if he has been a lifelong fan, which he has, this is I'm assuming the role he's always wanted. Maybe not, but so how long would you stick around in that role if those things were true?
Right. I don't know. I mean, I certainly am in no rush to see him go. I mean, despite the fact that I was a little slow to warm up to him last year. Mm-hmm. By now I think okay, he's clearly one of the best Doctors.
Yeah.
That's how I felt, especially after this episode, especially with his scenes with Davros, and also the whole thing with the him in the Dalek Davros chair. Yeah. Just all those scenes were just so brilliantly performed with just the right level of seriousness and comedy and sincerity and darkness and moving from one to another with just the he just embodies what the Doctor should be. I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in no rush to see him go, although someday he will.
Yeah, someday they all do. So now, did I also see that Stephen Moffat is signed on for Series 10?
Yeah, I think he said something in an interview about how, I just signed on for Series 10. I didn't hear anything more than that, but
that is that's so he will have officially run 6 seasons at that point?
Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 across who knows how many years, because
right,
because there were 2 seasons spread across 3 years, and we don't know what's happening next year. So
right. Yeah. So yeah, wow, that's a long time. That's a lot of seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even know. I really struggle to imagine what Doctor Who's going to be like once he leaves.
Maybe that's why he hasn't left.
That could very well be.
It could be that the BBC just really doesn't want him to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I also don't know what Doctor Who's going to be. Yeah, I guess that could be the risk is right now it's a huge phenomenon, and it's wildly successful and, whatever else. So they probably don't want it to change too much.
Well, the ratings have not been good for the first 2 episodes of the season.
Oh, really?
In the UK.
Huh.
They broke records in the US.
Oh. Well,
but in the UK, the ratings were not especially good.
Really?
Yeah.
So could this be, are they intentionally writing this for the US now?
I don't know. We'll also have to wait to find out time shifting.
Oh, yeah.
Because, they have the iPlayer over there.
Right.
And whatnot. So I think the actual live viewing figures matter less now.
Right.
Especially since it's not even a commercial broadcaster, so it's not like they have got advertisers to pander to.
That's right. Yeah, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Well, yeah, so if people are just watching it for free online with no ads, I mean, it's a question of either that or watching it for free on TV with no ads. So,
right. Yeah, wow. Could like interest really be waning over there?
I don't know. I mean, it's still a cash cow, regardless.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about its future.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's the thing is like I wonder what would happen on like under a different showrunner. I mean, I guess it's stupid to even try to imagine because it's not gonna do me any good.
It depends who the showrunner is, I guess.
That's the thing is, and it just as it hasn't been clear in the past, I still feel it's not clear who could possibly succeed Stephen Moffat. I just don't know.
Yeah.
And would they take the show in like a different direction? Because I mean, like that's the thing is, the Russell T Davies era and the Moffat era are so very different from one another in terms of like tone and like themes and stuff. So like, what would a different like what would like an even more different take on Doctor Who be? Like I don't know. I just don't know.
We won't know until we see it.
I guess that's really that's what it comes down to.
But it's gonna happen.
It is gonna happen
someday.
Someday.
Do you like the Sonic sunglasses?
I do kind of like how stupid they are.
Yeah, me too. It's like that's really dumb, but it's cute.
It's cute, and it's like, yeah, the sonic screwdriver was ridiculous enough as it was, so why not turn it into a pair of sunglasses? Like, why not? But it looks like it is sticking around. It looks like that is what he's going to be using. Like it was in the trailer for next week.
I'm all for it.
Sure.
I mean, just change it up a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's this, I'm a little tired of him like pointing his screwdriver at everything just to solve all the problems.
Exactly.
Even if it's just like he's pinching the bridge of his glasses or whatever it's going to be now.
Right.
I mean, that's enough different that it might just make things a little more interesting.
Right. Even if he just like glares, like I'm all right with that. He's like a sonic glare. Yeah, let's go with that.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, that's the thing is like, he waves it around, like with regard to the sonic screwdriver, he waves it around, he points at his stuff. It gets kind of old. It's like he's using it, he's wielding it as a weapon, or at least he certainly wasn't, with Matt Smith. And so, it really feels like this is at the very least he's not doing that here. And, so that's a plus at the very least. So I'm all for it. Like maybe this is also like kind of like a shaming thing almost, where like, okay, so now he's got this ridiculous thing that's also like a plot device. Hopefully now the writers will realize that they have to limit it because you can't have it'll just look dumb if the Doctor is constantly donning sunglasses or whatever. So maybe this is a way to shame the writers into using it less because now it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, or to just use it more consciously.
Yeah. Like, well, what if there's a situation in which sunglasses don't make any sense? Then you can't use it because that would break the whatever you call it, the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in the dark, or if like, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a situation like where, like, what if Capaldi has to wear like goggles or something and he can't, and so his eyes are already occupied and he
or
can't.
He's in a church.
That's right. Yeah. So situations of manners, things like that. Yeah. I think this is good. And it's better than just like completely chucking out the sonic screwdriver. Which it could have done.
I was actually kind of hoping that's what they were going to do.
It did, it did sort of seem like that, especially when the Doctor was saying whatever. I forget what it was exactly, but, Davros was saying something about either he had the screwdriver or something else, and, the Doctor sort of was implying like, oh, I'm over that now, or something. I forget what he says exactly. But, so I guess he was over that in the sense that now he is more fashion conscious in his sonic devices.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, and I was totally okay with that, with the idea that he would go hands free, as it were. But and now he has. But like I would have totally been okay with them just saying, okay, well the sonic screwdriver is done now. It's destroyed or whatever,
Well, it's essentially what they did in like the Fifth Doctor era.
Right. But and then things were fine after that. Well, I mean, relatively speaking.
Well, the show got canceled. I mean, it was a slow downward slide towards cancellation. So
right, yeah. So maybe, maybe this is the beginning of the end right here.
The ratings aren't great.
The This is the nail in the coffin. The final.
Doctor Who is dead.
Yep.
And this time it's not coming back.
Yep. Warm up those Flash animators. Get your Richard E. Grant Doctor back.
Yeah. Oh, did you like the little Missy narrating the Doctor's flashback adventure?
Oh yeah.
With the androids and the teleporting and whatnot.
Yeah, that was really clever. Yeah, I liked how they I liked how it started off with her deciding what doctor she wanted to have it be in the story about. So, you see like a glimpse of the 4th Doctor and then the 1st Doctor, and it finally settles on the 12th. I liked that sort of.
Yeah,
it's like
any Doctor. It doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of a cool way to tell a story, like a brief story from an unreliable narrator about the Doctor's past, without having to, like, I don't know, do like, well, because you can't do age makeup, but like, because it would be weird, having anything set in the Doctor's past. But this is handled nicely because it's just Missy saying like, all right, well, let's just insert here the Doctor we're familiar with. And so that's like a cute little way to handle that, and that was a lot of fun. I also want to know what vampire monkeys are.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I guess
monkeys that are also vampires.
I guess it stands to reason. So and the point of that story was, of course, to explain how they were able to teleport away.
Yeah, and I was more or less satisfied with that.
Yeah. Now, do you think that that's the same way that Missy escaped in Death in Heaven?
Oh yeah, that's basically confirmed.
Oh, is it really? Like, well, I mean, all right, yeah. I mean, like,
well, you see the flashback. You see her getting zapped by the Cybermen.
Oh, is that? Hang on, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was just her getting zapped by the Daleks.
You see both of them.
Oh, do you really? Really?
Yeah.
Did I just like enter a fugue state?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
All right.
No, they definitely show the footage of like her getting zapped by Cyberbrig in Death in Heaven. And Claire's like, "Oh, that's how you did it that time."
Oh. I guess I missed that.
And then they again show the footage from last week's episode, showing the extermination. So yeah.
All right. Well then. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad we wrapped all that up. Although it didn't need to be wrapped up.
No. But it was the vortex manipulator. So.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I feel like I should get points for that.
Yeah, I think you should.
All right. I get points.
We'll make a note.
I should write down points.
Yes, you've got them. You got those points. So do you think that so the titles obviously were just like not like any special significance in terms of like what the episode like in terms of like parallel universes or anything. Obviously they're just actual synonyms. Do you think that like any of the other two-parters will maybe do that, or are they all just synonyms?
I'm guessing they're all just synonyms, or I don't know. I mean, maybe some kind of pattern will reveal itself as we go on, but
yeah,
I imagine the Zygon invasion and the Zygon inversion. I have to imagine like the Zygon inversion is gonna mean something, but I don't think it's gonna be like the parallel universe scenario that I laid out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. But it could be that maybe this pair of episodes was just supposed to be a red herring to throw you off the scent of parallel universes, where like
because they heard my theory.
Exactly, and they wanted to make sure that no one actually suspected it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stick to this theory.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and stick to my theory.
Yes. That's a problem. It's a problem how cute they are.
It's a big problem.
I mean, you just like want to pick them up and be like, ooh, he's a cute dog, Dalek. You're the cutest Dalek. So it's tough.